up to. She's all fun.
I'd like to thank everyone for coming today and visiting us at our farm for this event with Senator Gillibrand and her staff. This is really a fantastic moment, and I can't tell you how excited I am, how much I appreciate it. We're here because of the debt forgiveness provision that's in the Inflation Reduction Act, and I can tell you that. Well, this is quickly the history of it. I was watching the presidential debates back in 2019 and during the summer, and during those debates the candidates were all talking about forgiving mortgages, forgiving student debt, forgiving medical debt, and they were campaigning in Iowa where I went to grad school, and no one was saying a word about forgiving farmer debt. So I said to my wife, hey, I got an idea, and drafted it. My wife, of course, is my editor, helped me write it and put it together. And then I planned a trip down to DC in November of 2019. And the Senator's former ag staff at the time, Eric Giebel, helped me get some of my meetings. And I met with a number of offices on the Hill, including Senator Bernie Sanders' office and Senator Booker's office, amongst others. And of course, I already gotten a meeting with Senator Schumer's office, Congressman Maloney's. And I pitched, I had like about 7 or 8 proposals, and that was one of them. And I'll never forget her senator's legislative director at the time, Brooke Jameson, looked at it and said, this is brilliant, we can do this. And she wasn't kidding, they did it. And it's an incredible accomplishment. And the thing I like to point out is, I can come up with all the ideas in the world, and people can, but if you don't have a senator who's dedicated, and you don't have other members of Congress as well, or Congressman Maloney on the House side, who are dedicated about it, and with good staff, it's not going to happen. And what I like to also emphasize too is, and I can say this in 25 years of doing public policy work, not once did the senator or staff say, hey, we'll get this for you, but you got to do a fundraiser for me, or you got to get some votes for me, or so on and so forth. It's not about that. It's always been about the idea and the proposal and how it will benefit. And in this case, it's not about charity or not, make farmers feel good or so on and so forth. This is about smart public policy. We don't want to have our food production controlled by a handful of large corporate entities out in the Pac Northwest where no one lives. This is about maintaining our domestic food supply, in particular with small family farmers. And the Senator sees a wisdom in that. And so I just want to say that my wife and I, when it was announced that we would fight for it, and then the fact we got in, we cried. That's how appreciative we are. So I'd just like to thank you again publicly for all the, and not just this, but all the hard work you do on behalf of farmers and your constituents in New York. We greatly appreciate it very much.
Chris, that was extremely kind. Well, thank you for everyone here. It really is a joyous celebration because this is going to help a lot of farmers, just as Chris said. I want to thank him and his wife, Eve. I want to thank Pastor Hugh Farish here, who's going to speak in a minute. And then I want to thank our Goshen Town Supervisor, Joe Betro, and our Assembly Member, Carl Robinick, for being here as well. And I want to recognize Mary Ann Johnson, who's also going to speak today. Everyone who's here, you really do make a difference to this community, and it shows. All the farmers and all the people from Cornell and all the people who support agriculture. It really does make a difference to our communities. In 2019, as Chris said, he did come to my office because he saw a problem that he was determined to fix. Like many farmers across New York, Chris was struggling to make ends meet. Extreme weather events, such as drought, hail, and flooding, were hurting his businesses and making it extremely difficult to pay back his loans and expenses. Then the pandemic hit, and things got even worse for farmers, just like Chris. Reduced demand, rising costs, supply chain disruptions made it nearly impossible for many farmers to keep their businesses afloat. New York farmers are critical to our state's economy. Our state is home to more than 30,000 farms, which contribute billions of dollars to our gross domestic product. But during much of the COVID-19 pandemic, many small farms like this one couldn't access emergency federal farm aid and received minimal COVID food assistance benefits. While Congress has taken steps since the onset of the pandemic to aid our nation's farmers, they simply did not go far enough or adequately provide relief. For years, farms have struggled to pay their workers, maintain their equipment, put food on the table for American families. And as a result, many farms and farmers just like Chris are in desperate need of urgent and direct loan forgiveness to alleviate their debt and keep their operations running. That's why last year Chris and I worked to craft this bill, the Relief for America's Small Farmers Act. The bill would fortify the nation's food supply chain, provide economic relief to alleviate crippling debt for the nation's most vulnerable farmers. Now, I'm proud to report that critical parts of that bill were included in the Inflation Reduction Act, which Congress passed and President Biden signed just earlier this month. It provides $5.3 billion in debt relief and assistance for farmers who are struggling or at risk of losing their farms, which includes financial assistance to farmers who have experienced discrimination in the USDA farm lending programs. In addition to these provisions, specifically for our nation's farmers, the Inflation Reduction Act also strengthens our economy and helps working people and working families all overall to help do a few things. 1, fight inflation. 2, lower prescription drug costs and healthcare costs. 3, reduce energy bills. 4, extend the Affordable Care Act subsidies. And 5, close tax loopholes that are abused by the largest corporations. It also includes the most significant climate investment in our nation's history, all while paying down our national debt. The nearly $360 billion investment in energy and climate spending will reduce carbon emissions by roughly 40% by 2030 and take us a huge step forward in reaching our nation's green energy goals. The Affordable Care Act premium tax credits have provided a lifeline for millions of Americans who receive health care coverage through the ACA. These life-saving credits were set to expire this year. That's why I co-led the effort in the Senate to extend these benefits, and so I'm proud that they were included. I'm also grateful that the bill allows Medicare to negotiate drug prices, which is something I have long championed, and sets a new $2,000 cap for Medicare beneficiaries on annual out-of-pocket costs for drugs, plus a $35 monthly cap on insulin cost sharing. These provisions will go a long way to making us be able to afford health care in America. As we've all learned from COVID, when people get sick, businesses suffer. But by working to make sure our farmers and their workers have access to health care that they need, we can also make sure our larger economy stays healthy, resilient, and productive. These are just some of the steps that we're taking and will improve our lives of our nation's farmers. I look forward to working with Chris and farmers like him to chart a path forward that is best for our farmers in our world. We're next going to hear from another farmer and pastor, Pastor Pew Parrish.